Ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges, please take a while to imagine a situation where your foreign friend comes to visit in your country. What would you want to do? First, you will want to provide them the best experiences so that they will be satisfied with their experiences and want to come back. But second, you always have to realize that there will be costs incurred. Therefore, you have to schedule it well so that the cost will be minimized. This is a problem that all the airline industries are experiencing as well, where they want to increase customer satisfaction while also lowering their operational cost. We see that Cathay Pacific is facing a challenge in that they want to do both, but are facing some hardships in the current situation. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, today we present to you Cathay Pacific Enhanced Experience and Enhanced Efficiency so that they will be sustainable and profitable in the long run. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's an honor to be here today. We are Team Yonsei, proudly representing South Korea. I'm the first speaker, Eun-young Chung, who will be followed by my teammates, Seung-hee Cho, Suji Lee, and Ji-hoon Kim for the later strategies that we have. So first, let us look at what we're facing. We see that the airline industry first has high fixed costs, but they also have high variable costs in operation. So we see that as a whole, there is high cost incurred in its operation and providing services to the customers. But we see that there is low marginal cost in the case of customers, which means that the costs that are incurred by serving one more customer is rather low. Therefore, it is profitable for them to have as much and many customers as they can in the current situation. In this situation, Cathay Pacific has a goal and had a positioning that they wanted to become a premier international center for passenger and cargo traffic, but are facing some hardships. Then let's look at what are the challenges they are facing. First, as a whole, we see that the threat of new entrants in this industry is very low due to the high fixed cost that we mentioned before. We also see that the threat of substitutes is also low because the substitutes in this case would be buses or trains that customers would not choose as substitutes. However, we also see that the bargaining power of supplier is very high, but Cathay Pacific is doing quite well in this area. Then what is the problem that they are actually facing? We see that there are problems in the competition, which is getting intense day by day, with low-cost carriers arising and the operational costs that they are having less competency than their competitors. We also see a problem in the bargaining power of buyers because, as we mentioned below, the marginal cost is very low. Therefore, all the airline industries want to have more customer base, and therefore customers would have a high bargaining power. Then what is the exact problem related to customer? First, we see that they are not providing enough value so that customers would choose them, the premium products, over the low-cost carriers. We see that their ratings based on customer satisfaction or the ratings that customer gave keeps dropping as the years go by. And the problems or incidents of the employee rationale or their services is getting expanded with the social networks that are keep developing. We also see a problem compared to their competitors. We see that the break-even load factor is highly problematic in the current situation. In this case, we mean that the price to break even between the revenue and the operating cost is quite high for Cathay Pacific than its competitors. We see that it is standing in the first place, which is a big problem that needs to be enhanced. We don't think the problem stops there. We see a dilemma that they are facing, that they have to choose and they have to balance. First, they wanted to become a premium brand with high price to customers. However, because customers do not see enough value, they are not choosing Cathay Pacific, therefore less customer base. Cathay Pacific therefore lessened their price, which means that they are less premium or premium looking than they were before. Second, they wanted to lower their operational costs because they realized the problem. However, therefore, they lessened the labor that they had. However, that led to sacrificing their service quality, causing a lot of issues, therefore causing lessened customer satisfaction. So first they need to choose whether to go premium or to sacrifice the image that they had. Second, they have to balance the operational cost and the customer satisfaction in the status quo.
Now, considering this dilemma, we would like to explain and take a deeper look at this dilemma by introducing to you the Service Management Trinity model. Now, the Service Management Trinity model tells us that there are three vital elements in the service industry that will determine the service quality of your company or your product. And these three vital elements are, as you can see, marketing, human resources, and operations. And we believe that these three elements are deeply interrelated and interdependent on each other. Now, as we mentioned before, these three elements are vital in that they determine the service quality of your company. Moreover, the service quality is directly related to determining your customer satisfaction and, by extension, of course, brand loyalty, which is extremely important in industries such as the airline industry. As Eunyoung mentioned before, now the problem with Cathay Pacific is, as you can see, they have decreased the amount of investments and resources allocated to human resources in order to decrease their operational costs. And therefore, this has resulted in a lot of day-to-day operational basis, and it has reduced the operational efficiency. And this was most clearly evident in terms of crisis management. When there were bad weather forecasts and planes were delayed, their operational inefficiency became very clear to their customers, thus affecting the brand image, the premium brand loyalty that their customers had previously owned. And so Team Yonsei has arrived to the core question. How can Cathay Pacific increase service quality while reducing its operational costs? And in order to satisfy these two contradicting dilemmas, we have suggested two main strategies, being enhanced experience and enhanced efficiency. And in order to enhance our customer experience, we would like to suggest two main action plans, which is digital concierge service, sharing the fund service. And in order to increase our operational efficiency, we have suggested predictive forecasting and by using fuel-efficient planes for our cargo service. Now we would like to explain to you deeper about our strategy considering the Trinity model in mind. Now, as you can see, we would like to enhance the flight experience for our customers. And in order to do so, we have targeted our two customers based on the two reasons why they would like to use Cathay Pacific. Customers use our airline for two main reasons, for business or for leisure. And we believe that for these business people who are using our planes, the main reason for them to use the airline is because it is a mode of transportation that gets them from point A to point B. And because they're here for business purposes, we believe that their in-flight experience should be as professional as possible, as efficient, because they do not like to waste their time or be disturbed in their private area. Moreover, we believe that this also enhances our Cathay Pacific's premium image. In addition, we would like to analyze the psychographics of our customers who are using Cathay Pacific for leisure purposes. Now, as you can see, for our customers who are using Cathay Pacific for leisure purposes, for them, initially, the airplane is also a form of transportation that gets them from their home to their destination. And so the problem is this. For them, their travel experience begins the moment they get off the airplane, the moment they set foot on the destination. However, we believe that Cathay Pacific should transform this so that we provide them with some excellent in-flight experience so that their travel experience begins the moment that they set foot on our plane. And to do this, we'll be providing with interactive flight experience. And considering the Trinity model in mind, we believe that because we'll be reducing the interaction that our business people will have with the flight attendants, we will be increasing the efficiency of our human resources, increasing the efficiency of our operations, and differentiating our value production, thus marketing. Now, our second strategy, which is to enhance our operational efficiency, can also be explained using our Trinity model. We will be using predictive forecasting to reduce the unmandatory or unnecessary value offerings that are given in our in-flight service. We believe that we will be able to accumulate and aggregate the data from our first strategy in order to analyze using AI technology. And by analyzing this, we will be able to optimize our offerings by finding out what is it that our customers truly need and truly want when they're riding with our plane. Moreover, we believe that the cargo service is also another important sector that Cathay Pacific is going under, and we feel that Cathay Pacific has recently changed its play model and increased their seating numbers from 9 seat rows to a 10-seat row. And by doing this, although they have reduced costs, they have actually compromised the customer's comfort. And we believe that instead of compromising our customer's comfort, we will be able to use the same strategy in order to use fuel-efficient planes for a cargo service, and we will not be compromising the comfort of our individual customers. And as you can see, this strategy will also reduce the inefficiency of our human resources, thus increasing the efficiency of our operations, and will increase the brand image of our customers, thus overall increasing the service quality of Cathay Pacific. Now, to sum up what we have mentioned, our goal is to achieve two contradictory dilemmas, which is to increase our service quality while decreasing our operational costs. And in order to balance between those two, we have generated two strategies. The first being to enhance the experience of our customers using the digital concierge service, which my partner will further explain, and by sharing the in-flight experience with other customers who are already on the plane. Moreover, we will be also enhancing our operational efficiency by using predictive forecasting and by using fuel-efficient planes for our cargo services.
Our previous speaker, Seung-hee, has established the importance of our two strategies: enhance experience and enhance efficiency. Now, we want to give you a detailed explanation of the action plans that will implement the two strategies and help Cathay Pacific realize its future goal. For the first strategy, which is enhance experience, we have two action plans. The first action plan is to create a digital concierge. We want to make a more personalized service for the premium wanting business travelers who want a no-fuss and convenient travel time. So with our new in-flight system that Seung-hee has mentioned, we want to create two things. Firstly, we want to automate our basic services. So currently, when you want to order a Coke, you have to call the flight attendant. Then the flight attendant comes to you, and then you tell her or him that you would like a cup of Coke. But we want to automate this so that the business traveler can order their cup of Coke from the in-flight system. Secondly, we want to introduce value-added service lists. For example, in the in-flight system, we can have a feature so that the travelers can order or call a taxi for the airport when they arrive in the terminal. The second action plan is called sharing the fun, where we want to strengthen the customer experience for the leisure travelers. There are two parts to this action plan. The first being there is the in-flight instant messaging service that we will be creating. We want to partner with WhatsApp to create a in-flight instant messaging service in our in-flight system and allow the leisure travelers to communicate with each other and share more information about their travel destination and what they're going to do and help each other to communicate. Secondly, we want to expand our content. We want to curate entertaining and informative content from popular social media platforms and stars. These content will be related to the travel destination. For example, I am a fan of the YouTuber Jem In, and she is a YouTube fashion guru who travels to many different countries. For example, if I am traveling to Bali, the in-flight system will have the content of her traveling to Bali, showing me the places that I can travel to, what I can eat, and how I can enjoy my time in Bali.
The expected impact of our first strategy are as follows. First of all, we'll have an increased service quality for customers with different needs. For instance, through the digital concierge, we have targeted the businessman target segment. Through the sharing the fun action plan, we have targeted the travelers for premium leisure. Now, because we have increased service quality, we expect an increased revenue in the future. Secondly, we would like to attain a differentiation point among the competitors, which is in an industry where competition is really fierce. Now lastly, we would like to, since we have increased labor efficiency, we will have a better quality service. As Suji mentioned, the flight crew will be only called at critical moments. In other words, there will be no more needless calling, and therefore there will be increased satisfaction of the employees, thus a higher morale and better service, which will lead to better customer service in the future. Now, the financial impacts of this strategy are as follows. First, we consider the cost to be incurred as content expansion with the YouTubers. Secondly, the system installation for the in-flight experiences. And lastly, alliance formation with the aforementioned messaging firms. And the revenue that we expected were the boosted sales due to increased customer satisfaction. And since our group considered the boosted sales to increase satisfaction as much more than the cost that will be incurred in the present time, we thought this would be a positive MPV strategy.
For the second strategy, which is enhanced efficiency, we also have two action plans. The first action plan is to create predictive forecasts. We want to utilize AI to analyze data and predict for the operational efficiency. So we want to optimize in two aspects. The first aspect is to optimize for the routes operations, where we will analyze sales data so that we can analyze which routes are popular and unpopular and manage our routes frequency as such. For the optimization of in-flight operation, we want to collect the data from our new in-flight system as we mentioned. And because we are tracking the order and the basic services, we can minimize and improve the inefficient basic services. For example, if we order a cup of Coke, and we can measure the time it takes for the customer and the traveler to get the cup of Coke and check along all our services how the time changes and if it's been increasing or decreasing and manage that as such. For the second action plan is the fuel efficient cargo. For this, we want to decrease the operational cost for the cargo business. We want to focus on the purchase of the fuel-efficient aircraft for the cargo business so that we can overall decrease the operational costs for Cathay Pacific.
The expected impact of our second strategy are as follows. For the first one, we have reduced costs to utilize for other strategies, as mentioned earlier. The predictive forecasting will reduce the less profitable journeys through the sales data and will reduce less necessary operational expenses to the in-flight system data. And through the cargo action plan, we'll be able to reduce needless operational costs, which means fuel-efficient aircraft for the non-service sectors of the industry. Financial impacts are, the first cost incurred will be replacing the aircraft for cargoes and data collection costs regarding the predictive forecasting. However, the revenues will be, in terms of cost, will be lessened operational costs. The predictive forecasting will incur short-term lessened operational costs, and the cargo will give a revenue of lessened operational costs in the long term. The strategy timeline is as follows. Considering we're in 2018, we would like to implement the fuel-efficient cargoes by 2022 and use the resources that we gain from this fuel-efficient cargo strategy to the in-flight experience and having installed the in-flight experience to the aircraft, we'll be able to collect the data and thus do the predictive forecasting as we mentioned earlier. The risks that are associated with these strategies are as follows. First of all, we have the harsh labor union. Because we are replacing or cutting off many employees, and we expect the resistance to be very high among the harsh labor union, and because this is an essential process, we have to lessen the operational costs. We would like to better compensate for the well-performing employees within the corporation. And we do understand that this does incur costs, but we thought this would be necessary for the mitigation of the risk regarding labor union. Secondly, we have the risk regarding fuel hedging, the volatility of oil prices. And we know that fluctuating oil prices can be, the uncertainty regarding fluctuating oil prices can be reduced through hedging. And because we're failing quite often with the Cathay Pacific system, we thought we would be outsourcing the hedging decisions to professional institutes such as HSBC, other PEFs or hedge funds, so that we can reduce the uncertainty even more. And we do understand that this, again, incur costs, but we thought this would be necessary for the mitigation of the external risk.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cathay Pacific is in a changing environment, and they need to adapt. They need to know what the customers want. They need to know what the experience that they need to do. So, customers basically have leisure or business purposes, and we thought the customer needs for both segments would be quite different. That is why, to increase customer satisfaction, we have tried to make a better service quality by introducing the digital concierge. But we also thought, while doing that, it is essential that they lessen their operational costs. Therefore, we have made certain strategies that they can target their operational costs and increase efficiency. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that Cathay Pacific... Thank you.
Now we proceed to 15 minutes Q&A session.
Now, you mentioned about using more fuel-efficient aircraft for the cargo operation. Right. But we know that actually new aircraft cost more, and not only that the initial price, even though if you lease the aircraft, the leasing cost is actually much higher, right? In comparing with the old model, that pretty much depends on the oil price, right? If oil price goes down, it makes a lot of sense for you to use the less fuel-efficient aircraft, because in this case, the operating cost is actually much lower. So how would you justify your strategy in terms of the volatility with oil prices?
Well, since the oil price is, as you said, fluctuating, we thought the price of oil is out of control and thus should be controlled through other means. And we thought the means that we could take to lessen the risk regarding oil prices would be with the fuel-efficient cargoes. And if we, like now knowing that the fuel-efficient cargoes are more expensive and leasing cost is expensive, we do understand that it could be more beneficial if we use the less oil-efficient crafts in the case of oil prices going down. But since we know that the oil price fluctuation is out of our control, we thought this would be a good solution to mitigate the risk regarding the oil fluctuation prices.
Julian, thank you firstly for recommending some business to HSBC with your hedging policy. So that was well done. Look, you hit on it quite on. The major costs with airlines are fuel and staff. I think you did a great job talking about fuel hedging. What key changes would you make to staff to make sure that your strategy is implemented? So key people, what positions and what type of people do you think you should hire? And secondly, actually, what type of people do you think you should possibly move on?
We believe that, first of all, thank you for your question and your insights. And we believe that in order to actually maximize our labor potential, we should focus on educating and training and increasing the expertise of our flight attendants and of our employees and staff. So what we felt we should be doing is actually emphasizing quality over quantity. So in order to increase our service quality, we should not be increasing the number of the staff that Cathay Pacific is actually hiring. Instead, we should be focusing more and investing more in educating them and training them so that they have higher morale, and so that Cathay Pacific's brand integrity can actually be delivered to each and every customer that they are dealing with. And by actually allocating the menial tasks to technology and to automation, we believe this will allow more scope and space for our employees to have higher expertise when dealing with our customers.
We all, talking about how to onboard the more customers to the flight, But one thing is that actually Cathay, they also have some kind of a long-flighting business, not directly, flying to over. They have some kind of a ground handling services. Do you, try to think about any, new income stream can help the company in certain extent, given that they have a huge investment on the fixed cost already, whether we can, make use of it and generate some other income on it?
Thank you for your question, and we would like to answer that by bringing you to our first strategy, which was our digital concierge service. Now, what all these low-cost carriers are doing is actually they're minimizing the price tickets, and they're actually differentiating themselves by giving the customers on their plane the choice of purchasing when they're inside the plane. And in essence, our digital concierge service is quite similar in that it is another revenue model. Because our customers will be using our digital concierge service, we believe this is a new revenue model in which we can actually get more income, because they will be using the concierge services that that are usually offered in accommodations such as hotels. So if I was a businessman, if I was using Cathay Pacific and there was a digital concierge in front of me and I needed some transportation services the moment I landed on the airport, or if I needed some storage place to store my jackets or my business attire, we believe that our customers will have this choice, and Cathay Pacific will actually be able to make the service in order to take the commission cost from the system, and this way we believe this is another possible income model for Cathay Pacific.
How about, they also have invest quite a lot in catering services. Whether they can, I just think about what maybe they can take some business from other airline to provide them some,
Thank you for your insight. I'm very glad you asked that question, because while we were discussing our strategies, that also came up. And we noticed that Cathay Pacific was also doing a catering service. And our second action plan in our first strategy, which was to provide the travel experience the moment our customers set foot on their plane, we believe that we will actually cater to our customers' taste by providing them with the local food that are offered in the destination. And we know that a lot of airlines are already doing this, but we believe that by actually analyzing the food trends in that destination, we will be able to provide our customers with the most updated and the trendiest local food that are available in the market, thus allowing differentiation of our value offerings compared to all the other airlines in the market.
My next question is about maintenance. Now, with airline operations, staff costs, oil price, and then maintenance. That it seems that in your recommendations, there's nothing mentioned about maintenance, because actually in the papers here it also mentioned about the concerns regarding maintenance. So how would you address in this area?
If we may take a moment to discuss our optimal answer for your question.
First of all, thank you for your question, and we do understand your concern. So today, we wanted to be realistic. We realized that there are a lot of problems involved in Cathay Pacific's current situation. They did have problems in the organization structure. They wanted to change the maintenance parts. They also had problems with other issues. And therefore today we wanted to choose the parts that can be of the most efficiency, thereby lessening their operational cost and also providing customers with the better satisfaction. Therefore, we did understand the issues regarding maintenance and how to improve in those areas. But we thought with the situation given, it is better for them to concentrate on certain areas that they can enhance the most in the current situation.
In addition to Eun-young's answer, we believe that another core problem of this case was its relationship with the stakeholders, here being the consumers. Cathay Pacific has actually suffered a huge threat when it comes to brand image management, and so we felt that by prioritizing our relationship with our stakeholders before the maintenance part, we have come up with the strategies to target this section of the issues that are mentioned in the case.
On your graph, you had sort of major benefits coming in 2022. It's quite a long time in the future. Maybe you could give us a bit more granularity on 2018, 2019. How are you going to sort of tweak the model on the way to your large changes in 2022?
Sorry, could you
Sorry, I just looked at your graph and you
Yes,
had a massive
sorry.
drop off in 2022. But actually not much before then. It seemed to be there weren't many great cost savings or revenue upticks leading up to it.
Yes.
So just talk to those two. How are you going to improve the jaws, the increase in revenue and costs in 2018, 2019, 2020?
So the 2022 was an imaginary number. Like we wanted to emphasize through the strategy timeline graph that this must be done before, because in a logical sense we have to have more cash flow, more income, so that we can more resources to invest into the in-flight experience strategy. And so if if I were to answer your questions, if we could implement it in 2018, the cargo system, and by 2019, perhaps we could kick off the in-flight experience R&Ds on the in-flight experience systems, and so we could balance the cash flow and the in cash flow, and implement these strategies in a concurrent sense.
Just the average tenure of a CEO could be 3 years, so he or she will be gone by the time you get the benefits. So I guess I'm going to press you again. I like a bit more granularity on how you're going to get there. You know, I understand what you're saying, which is you're going to cut a few costs and you're going to invest as well. It looks like you're going to invest in the year one by large. That's the cost savings won't kick in. You're getting a bit more granularity on how you're going to get there.
Thank you for your insight. We'll make sure to keep that in mind the next time we analyze our case and we present our strategy.
Perhaps I might throw another question. Now you mentioned about the interactive flight experience, right? And then you also want to allow the passengers to WhatsApp each other, right? But then how are you going to deal with the privacy issues, right? Have you think about that?
If I may answer your question, we believe that we will not be revealing any personal or private information about the consumers in that platform. We felt that WhatsApp itself is actually a choice for the consumers, and it's actually an addition to the in-flight entertainment and travel experience that they already have. So in essence, the desire for them to talk to new people or to make new friends during this flight time, especially in long-haul flights, we believe that the choice is fully up to the consumers. If they're more open to making new friends, or if they're already preoccupied with their family members, we believe that by giving them a choice, we're giving them more freedom for them to control their private information, or for them to design their own travel experience inside Cathay Pacific.
Right. And so apart from that, can you think of other sort of really interactive experience? I would like to see maybe some examples that can really demonstrate the sort of interactive actions between the passengers can get on board.
If I may answer your question, thank you for the insight, and we think that is a great question, and that actually came up during our discussion. So what we essentially felt that while this was the baseline of our interactive WhatsApp technology, we felt that the consumers will be able to communicate with each other and actually design their travel experiences together. So for example, if Jihoon and I did not know each other and we were on the flight, but I needed to go to Safari, which needed 3 people to rent a car. But since I don't know anyone in that country, I will be able to contact him and communicate with him. And this was essentially the idea that we're going for. And in the future, we believe this has huge potential because Cathay Pacific will be able to integrate horizontally with other tour companies in order to do partnerships and offer products such as this. So while it starts off as this idea of WhatsApp, we believe this has more potential to move on to a bigger industry because, as the case mentioned, Cathay Pacific is also doing partnership with ferries currently in order to create a more holistic travel experience.
So if we go back to sort of the staffing again as well, I think there's some issues with the unions, which I think both teams have alluded to. How would you improve that side of things? You mentioned stakeholders. How would you improve the engagement with the unions and therefore the staff?
So we would like to thank you for your question again, and it's an extremely challenging question because we felt that it has a lot to do with regulation, and of course, as we mentioned, while our primary stakeholder is our customers, we believe that our employees in Cathay Pacific is also another vital engine that drives our company itself, and so it's very important to manage a relationship with them. And we felt that by educating and training them and allowing and giving them much more freedom to maximize their potential, we will be able to alleviate and mitigate the risk that you have mentioned when it concerns to labor union. And we believe that by training our employees into giving them more freedom and leverage, we felt that we are actually harnessing a future society of able and capable labor workforce that will benefit both us, the society, and of course the individual employees themselves.
If I may add a little more onto that, we believe that there are given situations that the Cathay Pacific cannot solely control or enhance. Therefore, we did regard the labor unions and also the fuel prices that act as risks when they are trying to apply new strategies to the current situation, and therefore developed the strategies and the risk mitigation that as a whole will improve Cathay Pacific's situation in the future. Thank you.